Greetings, it is I, Orcarisper, welcoming you to the Sanguine Archives, where we explore the lore of World of Darkness by White Wolf from the perspective of and a focus on vampires. So let me be your guide for today, and I want to mention the day because again this will be an episode that is more out of character for general information. Today's visit to the Sanguine Archives will be about the Baali as non-player characters. It will be called My Will Be Done, and this guide is more meant for game masters, but it also kinda makes a connection to the one about Baali as player characters that we have before, so I highly recommend that you watch that too, because pretty much the same things apply with some additions, meaning what do you want your group to know that the character is a Baali or not? More importantly, are they okay with the content that usually comes with the Baali or crossover stories, because they are also more likely to happen if Baali are around. Don't forget that Baali have contacts and allies amongst Nefandi, Black Spiral Dancers, Fomori, and to some degree even the demons. So, want to spice up your story, want to add occult themes that the Tremere can't provide, want to go darker than the Giovanni, dabble in the rich background lore and the ancient myths of the World of Darkness, want to challenge everything the characters and maybe even your players think to know, or do you simply want an enemy that is so bad that it even unites Sabbath and Camarilla? The Baali provide all of that and more. Crossover stories with mage, werewolf and of course demons, but I personally think their biggest strength is twofold. For one, Baali can be the most powerful enemies you ever encounter. They can have access to any set of disciplines you want through apostates, and Baali tend to be quite low generation vampires. Indeed, if you go with one of the particular origin myths, Asaniali will be never lower than 6th or even 3rd generation vampires. They have supernatural allies like crazy, as I said, demons, wraiths and so on and so forth. They are immune to fire, they won't cower in fear, they won't fall for intrigue or manipulation, intimidation or seduction. You cannot bribe them, you can't just speak to them and talk them out of something. Baali are very likely to possess multiple powerful artifacts as well. They tend to come in groups, namely covens, in numbers from 3 to 13, and most frighteningly they have dark thaumaturgy. And of course, through that also access to regular thaumaturgy, as the two are basically the same, and you can learn regular thaumaturgical paths if you have dark thaumaturgy. They beat the Tremere at their own game, and are able to conjure up powers that not even the Tremere can. Don't forget some nice combination disciplines that the Baali have, like being able to use their disciplines through a swarm of insects that they control if they have but one dot in animalism. And that is absolutely amazing, as they can basically summon hellfire on you through some spiders in your haven. If you play with Asaniali, it gets even crazier, as they also have access to the Shadow Armor and the Shadow Form abilities from Obtenebration, allowing them to be basically immune to anything but sunlight and magic. With Dark Thaumaturgy they can do pretty much anything to a character that you want them to do. They can even curse, and permanently curse characters, which is also quite horrifying. Not to mention that they usually have a lot of allies running around who don't even know that they are allies to them. The Baali are masters of seduction and subterfuge, and they will very likely have a lot of pawns that aren't even aware of it. And that ties into the second big strength that they have. Baali are masters of the long game and very evil plans. Except for the Nefandi, you will not find a better villain in World of Darkness. You think Toreador can be two-faced intrigue-playing seducers? Do you think Setites can corrupt anyone? You think Tzimitzi are intimidating and La Sombra are masters of darkness? Well, think again, because the Baali beat pretty much everyone in their strong point. Baali operate on goals beyond most Knights, except maybe the Tal Mahera, the true Black Hand, of which, ironically, they even are a part of, and they have schemes that plan out for so long that the Inkonnu are blushing and kind of jealous about it. Baali are an excellent story device to unite groups that otherwise wouldn't cooperate. They are excellent and showing you, or better said, your players, the world of darkness and just how dark it can be. They are brilliant as an entry point to leave behind the nightly politicking in your city and start going for a much bigger picture and have your group ascend beyond the squabbles over a concrete jungle. They also offer great plot twists, as someone the coterie really likes may turn out to be a Baali after all and lure them in to become apostates. Not to mention, Baali are fantastic if you want to explore the lore behind the game more in depth and change the perception players might have on Knight history. Indeed, if you read the Book of Knot Fragments and some of the things that are written in the clan book Baali, you will find that the Baali influenced way more history than most people are aware of, and indeed Cain may, depending on the origin myth you go with, be their actual founder, making the Baali indeed something more than just a clan. You may also not want to forget that it was the Baali who united all 13 clans against them. It was Baali that ruled Carthage, and it was Baali who made Constantinople and Michael fall. It was Baali that corrupted many a Methuselah to their side, like the Malkavian Sibyl. Not to mention, they cause a lot of other issues and problems as well, having some interesting reveals like the Crone and Lilith being Baali too. If you have Assamite players, you may give a hint that Urshulgi, the powerful blood sorcerer, is also often linked to actually being a Baali himself, even though the sources are not so clear on that. Some say Hakim healed him from it, others say he didn't or did fail to do so. Either way, it explains why Urshulgi is so insanely powerful, as he would have access to dark thaumaturgy. The Baali offer a lot of hand-to-hand possibilities. As I said, they can come with any set of disciplines, so they can be fighters, they can be in the possession of celerity, potence, and of course fortitude. They can be very sneaky as well, as they have obfuscate as a standard discipline, and daimonion helps with it as well, as does of course obtenebration, which at least the Asaniali also get access to. It's also not far-fetched to have them be able to do some necromancy or some other more obscure things that usually are restricted to certain bloodlines, especially if you play with apostates. That said, the big plus that they have as non-player characters is that they usually infested the region long before your players arrive there. If the city has Tremere, there's a very good chance that the Order of the Worm has a few agents in the local Tremere Chantry, and the Tremere Chantry in your city may indeed be firmly in Baali hands. Similarly, you don't know how many Primogen are either Baali themselves or just aiding the Baali because they think they are good upstanding members of the community. Indeed, I think that Pentex is firmly in Baali hands as well, and the Baali can have a lot of resources through dealings with mortals. After all, if you promise a mortal something that they really want, they will do a lot for you. And if you offer it to powerful, influential people, you suddenly have a lot of mortals that flock to you and do anything you want. Not to forget that the Baali usually often lead cults. And those cults may very well have some very high-ranking members of the mortal world. The Baali will definitely have a big network from their Baali background and of course the clan that they actually pose as. I think resources is pretty much the biggest thing that they might actually have, with a lot of other Knights being in their debt and owing them a favor or two. Indeed, it shouldn't be difficult for your Baali to be a well-liked member of the community. After all, you instantly, well, more or less instantly know what people around you like, what they absolutely want to have and what they fear, and you can use that to play on their sanity, personality, and of course it's easy to kiss up to someone if you exactly know what they like and don't like. Baali aren't toreador strippers. They know how to seduce people. They know how to get them to do things for them. They have a lot of powers that make it very easy for them to actually play other people. They also have presence, of course, which is definitely helping, and their social skills, while they're usually not their primary focus, are definitely well developed. Keep in mind that the Baali managed to infest a lot of big cities without anyone ever noticing, like Damascus, Tyre, of course the entire Alexander the Great thing, Rome, Carthage, Constantinople, and they're also rather big in New York and Mexico, and of course in South Africa, Northern and Africa and the Middle East, they also have quite a presence, and in South America they're also rather huge through to Nergal and the Aztec Empire, or what is left of that. Keep in mind that they actually got the clans to unite against them. To be more precise, the Molochim got the clans to unite against the Nergali, and they will be able to do so again. They are after all aligned with the Tal Mahera and have quite some influence over through that. And while the Tremere are the go-to clan for Baali these nights, keep in mind that before that they were pretty much the same presence in the old clan Tzimitzi, and might as well have a lot of agents in the modern day Tzimitzi and the surviving old clan Tzimitzi to this very day. A lot of them also pose as toreador, so that's another thing that you should definitely look out for. And I think I start to ramble too much now, sorry about that. I guess that's a good time to end this. If you have further questions, feel free to post them in the comments. Thank you for watching, have a great fantastic day, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and the entire thing you know is stick by now, so have fun.